Call of Duty is, quote, too big to fail this year. What's going on, guys? MillerKiller310. Welcome back to another video on the channel, man. Before we hop into today's video, man, go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe. But other than that, let's hop into the video, man, shall we? So, look, we got some news to cover here, right? Call of Duty, please ignore my dog before I even go any further. You're going to hear my dog sneezing in the background. She is going ham with the sneezes, all right? Anyhow, moving on. Right, so Call of Duty reportedly has stated that they are too big to fail, and Battlefield 6 is not a worry to them, right? So, look, you just saw the screenshot there up on the screen, and this is something very interesting to me because, as you can tell by the very first part of this video, the game literally crashed on me. I recorded this like a little around like last night, and, the game just all of a sudden crashed. Now, before you say, oh, it's your hardware limitations, well, let me tell you something. I'm running a 5070 and an Intel Ultra 9 285K in this bad Larry, along with 64 gigabytes of RAM, and then like 2 terabytes of storage, and, even a hard drive SSD, MSI motherboard. Okay, look, it's not my hardware. It's the game. All right, moving on. So, Battlefield, as we may or may not know, Battlefield 6 is on the horizon. And from what I'm understanding, Battlefield 6 has already come out with a closed beta, kind of like a little private beta for a lot of these playtesters who did the Battlefield Lab stuff and all this other stuff that just contributed to Battlefield, have been invited to play Battlefield 6 early before the open beta. And as of the, chart numbers, there was only like 30K on Call of Duty last night on Steam, and there was like 290K players, on Battlefield 6 for that, waiting for the open beta. That's insane, man. The fact that Call of Duty is too big to fail is so unreal to me. Like, it's one of those things where, Battlefield has kind of been cooking up something for the past few, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Battlefield has not been in kind of the same boat as Call of Duty for maybe 2042 and maybe Battlefield 5, but for the most part, it seems that Battlefield this year has actually listened to community feedback and has listened to what players want the most. And for that very specific reason is why so many people are drawn to Battlefield 6. It's the biggest reason why Battlefield 6 has been passed around like a hot potato with its trailer. It's kind of insane to think that, Battlefield not really was kind of in its own little area, and now it's in an area where, COD is probably doomed to fail. Now, will I say that this will dare take away a lot of the players from Call of Duty? Absolutely 100%, right? A lot of people have been fed up with Black Ops 6 for the longest time, and the match you're seeing in this gameplay now is a match that I played literally right after, the beginning of this clip where the game failed, right? And then I love how all of a sudden just throws me into this wonderful 2KD lobby. But before that, oh no, I could hit a nice 2KD, and then there it went. The shit show started, and I started to get absolutely plastered, couldn't do anything, and I just got strung out all over the wall, and then the game crashes, because why not, right? I'm not saying Battlefield 6 may or may not have technical issues, but from what we are seeing within the Battlefield 6 beta compared to what we have been seeing with Black Ops 6 is a night and day difference. One shows that a community or a developers are willing to listen to their community, and one shows that their developers are not willing to listen to their community, take the feedback, and just actually make quality of life changes to the game to make the game fun, enjoyable for everyone. Instead, nope, let's just make sure that the store works fine, and that's pretty much it. And let's just use AI generated content, make terrible maps, and call it a day. Battlefield 6, man, I am not gonna lie. I've seen the trailers, I've seen the gameplay, it looks amazing, it looks fun, it looks enticing, it looks like something I could spend hours on like I did with Battlefield 1. Now, the last Battlefield game that I really put a lot of time into was Battlefield 1, and that's because Battlefield 1, man, was just so good down to its core, that it was taking literal time away from me in Call of Duty, because I was going back and forth between Battlefield and Call of Duty at that time. And it seems that this year may be one of those cases where I switch over to another FPS game that is good in competition and good at being fun and balanced, rather than being extremely rigged and broken to the point where it feels that I just can't do whatever I wish to do, or really attempt to do good without having something pulling the strings that I can't see. And Battlefield 6 is going to absolutely hammer the Call of Duty community, right? Because why? Well, take a look at what they're doing. They have listened. They have figured out the formula that is going to absolutely annihilate Call of Duty in the charts this year. And Battlefield is doing that right now with a current game that is soon to release in open beta. It's insane to think that Black Ops 7 got zero hype, zero intentions whatsoever, yet the moment they dropped that trailer for Black Ops 7, no one wanted to see or hear another Call of Duty game coming up until these problems could be fixed, and yet they did it anyway. It drove people away. I don't want to sit here and say that Black Ops 6 isn't good, right? It's like saying, the Titanic is unsinkable when you say that Call of Duty is too big to fail, right? What happens, right? They say that Titanic's unsinkable. Guess what happens? It hits an iceberg, and Call of Duty has already hit that iceberg. They have just been on the Titanic's downfall, right? Instead of calling it the Call of Duty, we're going to call it the Fall of Duty, because there's no way that this game has ever been able to retain anything other than appeasing the fact that Warzone is their main focus and everything else is a secondary thought. Whereas compared to Battlefield, they have been focusing on everything to make the game fun and make a community connected. And Call of Duty simply can't do that. Call of Duty is not too big to fail. Call of Duty is too damaged to not fail, right? I just wanted to bring this to you today, ladies and gentlemen, because I felt like this was something that I needed to personally bring to the channel, man, because you know what? Call of Duty is gonna fail. It's over, man. Call of Duty has a lot of competition this year. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I have for you today. Please, let me know your thoughts on Call of Duty. Will Call of Duty fail? Or is it gonna succeed as it always does? And what are your thoughts and opinions on the Battlefield 6 trailers and gameplay thus far? Right? So, other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace. Not